All right, so get this. Today we're going deep on this thing called the as-if principle.
Okay.
And it's this psychological idea, right? That you can basically change how you feel by changing how you act. We're talking like literally acting your way into a new reality.
Wow.
It's pretty wild, right?
Yeah. It's a really fascinating concept.
Yeah.
You know, we often think that it's our feelings that dictate our actions.
Right.
But what if it's the other way around?
Exactly.
What if it's the other way around?
And to help us figure that out, we've got a whole stack of research. We've got real-world examples,
Okay.
and we've even got some historical anecdotes.
Woo.
So think William James, Charles Darwin,
Oh, wow.
even a little Sigmund Freud sprinkled in there
Interesting.
for good measure.
Yeah, the as-if principle has implications for so many areas of our lives.
Absolutely.
It's, from our emotions to our relationships to our beliefs, even our self-esteem.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
Let's just start with something we can all relate to.
Okay.
Emotions.
Right.
Have you ever, forced yourself to smile when you were feeling down?
Yeah, for sure.
Just to try and trick yourself into feeling a bit better.
Totally.
Well, turns out there's some real science behind that.
Okay.
So, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
We tend to assume that feeling happy leads to smiling.
Right. Yeah.
But William James,
Mm-hmm.
one of the pioneers of psychology,
Yeah.
he basically flipped that idea on his head.
He did.
He said, and this is a great quote,
Okay.
he said, "You do not run from a bear because you are afraid of it, but rather become afraid of the bear because you run from it."
Oh, wow.
So he's essentially saying the action comes first
Okay.
and the feeling follows.
Interesting.
So if we apply that to smiling,
Yeah.
it's like our brains are interpreting the act of smiling as a sign that we must be happy, even if we weren't actually feeling it initially.
Wow. Yeah. That's a really interesting way to think about it.
Yeah, and the thing is,
Yeah.
our bodies actually respond physiologically to these actions.
Sounds good.
Paul Ekman, a leading researcher in emotions,
Right.
found that even a forced smile
Okay.
can trigger physiological changes
Oh, wow.
associated with genuine happiness.
That's fascinating.
So things like a slower heart rate
Okay.
and increased skin temperature.
So it's like our bodies are giving our brains false feedback.
Yeah.
And our brains are like buying it.
It's tricking our brains.
Totally.
It makes you wonder if we've been going about this whole feeling good thing backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does challenge our assumptions
Right.
about how emotions work.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do we think about I have to feel good first and then I'll do the thing.
Exactly.
But what if we just do the thing and then we feel good?
And it's not just limited to facial expressions.
No.
Right.
Like what else?
I was reading about a study where
Yeah.
people who walked with longer strides, swinging their arms, holding their heads high, they reported feeling happier
Oh.
than those who slouched.
So your posture, your physical movements can actually impact how you feel.
Absolutely. It's like our brains are constantly interpreting our actions
Right.
and then adjusting our emotions accordingly.
It's a fascinating feedback loop.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about love.
All right.
Could acting as if you're in love actually lead to real feelings? I mean, think about all those movies, right?
Yeah.
Where people pretend to be a couple,
Right.
and then bam, they end up falling head over heels.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that?
There might be more to it than just Hollywood magic.
Really?
There's this psychological concept called misattribution of arousal. And what that essentially means is that our brains sometimes misinterpret physical arousal as attraction.
So like if you go on a thrilling roller coaster ride with someone,
Okay, yeah.
your heart's racing, adrenaline's pumping.
Right.
Maybe your brain mistakes that for butterflies.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
It's like your brain thinks, hey, I'm feeling all these intense sensations. This person must be the cause.
That's amazing.
So choosing exciting activities for first dates,
okay.
maybe not such a bad idea after all. You get those, the heart racing,
You get the adrenaline going.
maybe a little bit of fear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what about those couples
Okay.
that fall for each other after playing romantic roles on screen?
Oh, yeah.
Like Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor,
Right.
Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, there's actually been research on this.
Oh, wow.
The psychologist Robert Epstein has done some really interesting work in this area.
Okay.
And he believes that any two people could potentially fall in love by consistently behaving as if they are already in love.
So those romantic comedies
might
be onto something?
They might be onto something.
Okay, but, this as-if principle seems to go way deeper than just like fleeting emotions or romantic sparks.
Deeper, okay.
What about our core beliefs? Can those be changed through action as well?
That's where things get really interesting and maybe a bit unsettling.
All right.
The as-if principle suggests that our actions can actually shape even our most deeply held beliefs.
Oh, wow.
Even if those actions initially contradict what we think we believe.
So you're saying we might act in ways that don't align with our stated beliefs.
Exactly. And there's research to back that up.
Like when someone claims to be environmentally conscious.
Okay.
But then tosses their trash on the ground.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
It seems their actions in that moment are shaping their beliefs.
Wow.
Rather than the other way around.
That's pretty profound.
It is.
But if our actions can shape our beliefs, does that mean beliefs aren't as stable as we think they are?
It certainly challenges the idea that we're solely guided by our internal compass of values.
Right.
And this disconnect between our actions and beliefs is where the as-if principle can be used to create some pretty significant changes.
Oh, God.
For better or worse.
For better or worse?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, let's look at some historical examples to illustrate this point.
Right.
For instance, consider the role the as-if principle played in the U.S. government's efforts to shift public opinion about racial desegregation in the mid-20th century.
So back when segregation was still deeply ingrained in society.
Exactly.
Okay.
That landmark Supreme Court ruling that declared segregated schools unconstitutional really forced people to start acting as if they supported integration, even if their beliefs hadn't caught up yet.
So suddenly kids of different races were going to school together, riding the same buses, using the same facilities.
Precisely. And while there was resistance and conflict, this consistent, repeated action of integration started to shift people's beliefs over time.
It's like their brains were saying, hold on, I'm behaving as if I believe in racial equality, so maybe I actually do.
Exactly. That's the power of the as-if principle in action.
But it can also be used for less noble purposes, right?
Right.
I'm thinking of the way the Chinese authorities used it to influence American prisoners of war during the Korean War.
Yeah, a darker example, but equally powerful in demonstrating the principle at work.
So instead of relying solely on brute force, they used subtle manipulation to try and get the POWs to adopt pro-communist views.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough to just passively listen.
Right.
They had to actively participate. To act as if they were buying into it.
Exactly. They were forced to attend lectures on communism.
Okay.
Participate in discussions where they were pressured to agree with those views and even write and recite pro-communist statements. And this consistent repetition of expressing those views, even if they didn't believe them initially, actually led some POWs to internalize them.
It's both fascinating and a bit frightening, isn't it?
It is.
The idea that our actions can have such a powerful influence on what we believe.
It really highlights the importance of being mindful of our actions and understanding the potential impact they can have on our beliefs and ultimately our sense of self.
Speaking of self, I'm curious how this as-if principle applies to something as personal as our self-esteem.
Well, just like with other beliefs and emotions, our actions can have a significant impact on how we see ourselves.
You're saying that even seemingly superficial things, like how we dress or how we carry ourselves, can influence our self-perception.
Absolutely. Remember that study where people were told they were going to eat a worm, even though they didn't actually have to? Experienced a decrease in their self-esteem?
It's like their brains thought, if I'm willing to do something this humiliating, I must not think very highly of myself.
Exactly, and it highlights the fact that negative experiences can impact our self-perception, even if those experiences are random and beyond our control.
So it's not just about our thoughts about ourselves that matter, but also the experiences we expose ourselves to.
Precisely, and this idea of physical change leading to a shift in identity is powerfully illustrated in the story of John Howard Griffin, the white journalist who darkened his skin to experience life as a black man in the segregated South.
He wrote about it in his book, Black Like Me.
Exactly.
I remember reading that book. His description of seeing his transformed reflection for the first time and feeling like a stranger in his own body was so powerful.
Yeah, it really highlights how our physical actions, even seemingly superficial ones, can have a profound impact on how we see ourselves.
This is also fascinating, but I'm also starting to see how practical this as-if principle can be. Especially when it comes to something we all struggle with.
Yes, the age-old challenge of getting things done.
How do we get ourselves to do the things we need to do?
Yeah, while traditional approaches focus on willpower and mindset, the as-if principle offers a more action-oriented approach. It's about tricking yourself into taking action, even when you don't feel like it.
So instead of waiting for inspiration to strike, we just start. Even if it's just a tiny step.
Exactly. And there's research to back this up.
Oh, there is?
Yeah. Small initial actions can actually change our perception of a task, making us more likely to see it through to completion.
It's like our brains are thinking, well, I've already started, might as well keep going.
Exactly. And there are all sorts of practical techniques that leverage this principle. Remember that one from the book? About tearing a sheet of paper into 20 pieces to represent the steps of a task?
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's like tricking your mind into thinking you've already made progress just by tearing the paper.
Yeah, you're like, I'm 10% done already.
Exactly.
Just because I ripped up this paper.
Yeah.
I love that.
And speaking of practical techniques, I think it's time we share some actionable tools our listener can start using right now.
Absolutely. Let's get practical and empower them to start experimenting with the as-if principle in their own lives.
Because this isn't just theoretical mumbo-jumbo, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
This is about giving people the power to create real change.
Let's do it.
Okay,
so we've talked about the as-if principle, like in theory. But how do we actually put it into practice?
Yeah, that's the key question, right?
Give us the goods. What are some specific things that we can do to start acting our way into a new reality?
Well, one of the simplest and most effective techniques is to focus on your posture. You mentioned earlier how walking with confidence can boost your mood. But even just sitting up straight can have a positive impact.
Really?
Yeah. Research shows that good posture can actually increase your willpower.
Oh, wow.
And help you stick with challenging tasks.
So it's not just about like looking confident. It's about feeling more capable too.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like your body is sending a signal to your brain. We got this. And speaking of confidence, have you ever heard of power posing?
I think I've seen people do it, like, but before like important meetings or presentations, they stand with their feet apart, hands on their hips like a superhero.
That's the one. It might feel a little silly at first, but studies have shown that holding these expansive poses for just a few minutes can actually increase feelings of confidence.
Oh, wow.
And even reduce stress hormones.
So next time I'm feeling nervous, I'll channel my inner Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
But what about those times when we're feeling anxious or overwhelmed? Can the as-if principle help us calm down?
Absolutely. When you feel anxiety creeping in, try acting calm. Take slow, deep breaths. Relax your muscles. And speak in a soothing tone.
So it might sound counterintuitive.
It does.
But by acting as if you're calm, you can actually trick your brain into feeling calmer.
It's like giving your nervous system a little nudge. in the right direction.
And I've heard there's even an as-if technique for dealing with guilt.
Oh, really?
Apparently washing your hands can actually help reduce those feelings of guilt.
It sounds strange.
Right.
But there's research to support it. Oh, wow.
The physical act of washing can create a sense of symbolic cleansing, helping us to feel less burdened by guilt or shame.
I guess it's like we're literally washing away those negative feelings.
Exactly.
Okay, and speaking of cleansing, let's shift gears to something a bit more positive.
Okay.
Creativity.
Oh, I like it.
Remember those studies we talked about?
Yeah.
Where people who walked in unpredictable patterns or sat outside a designated box were more creative?
Right.
Well, that's the as-if principle at work again.
It is. It is.
So to boost our creativity, we need to break free from our routines and embrace a bit of chaos.
Exactly. Sometimes the best way to unlock new ideas is to shake things up.
Okay.
To do something completely different.
All right. I'm adding walk-in zigzags to my to-do list.
There you go.
Now, what about social connections?
Can we use the as-if principle to enhance our relationships?
Absolutely.
Okay.
One simple way to feel more connected to others is to act in unison with them. Things like singing, dancing, or even just walking in step can create a sense of shared experience and strengthen those social bonds.
It's like our bodies are thinking up, and then our minds follow suit.
Precisely. And speaking of syncing up, let's talk about breaking bad habits.
Oh, right.
One of the most effective ways to overcome those ingrained patterns is to disrupt your routine.
Right.
Do something completely different.
So if I want to stop mindlessly scrolling to my phone before bed, I should try something else.
Right.
Like reading a book.
Yeah.
Or taking a relaxing bath.
Exactly. By breaking the pattern, you create space for new, healthier habits to emerge.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like you're giving your brain a chance to rewire itself.
Yeah.
And
last but not least, we can even use the as-if principle to stay young at heart.
Oh, I'm all ears.
So think about how you move and act.
Okay.
When you're feeling young and energetic, try to incorporate those movements and attitudes into your daily life, even if your body is telling you otherwise.
So dance like nobody's watching?
Exactly.
Even if my knees creak a little?
You're not just your thoughts. You are also your actions.
Right.
And by choosing to act as if we are younger, healthier, and more vibrant, we can actually start to experience those things as our reality.
It's like we have this incredible power to shape our experience just by changing our actions.
That's the beauty of the as-if principle.
Right.
It's not about denying our current reality. It's about actively creating the reality we want to experience.
It's so empowering.
It is.
I don't know about you,
yeah,
but I'm feeling inspired.
I am too.
To start putting all this into practice.
I think that's a great idea. What stands out to you the most? Is there anything you're particularly excited to try?
You know, honestly, it's all so fascinating.
Yeah.
But I'm really drawn to the idea that our actions can shape our beliefs, even our deepest ones. It makes you realize how much power we have.
Yeah, we do.
To influence our own reality.
It's not just about changing our beliefs. It's about understanding how those beliefs are constantly being shaped by our actions, whether we're conscious of it or not.
That's a great point. It's like we're constantly sending signals to ourselves through our behavior.
Yeah.
And our brains are picking up on those signals.
Picking up on it.
And adjusting our internal compass accordingly.
Exactly. And that brings us back to one of the most empowering aspects of the as-if principle.
Right.
It gives us a framework for taking control of those signals.
Oh, okay.
Instead of being passive passengers in our own lives, we can actively choose the actions that will shape our reality.
It's like we're the artists of our own lives.
I love that.
Yeah. And our actions are the brushstrokes that create the masterpiece.
It really captures the essence of what we've been discussing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
as we wrap up this deep dive into the as-if principle, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listener walks away with?
I think the most important thing is to remember that you are not just your thoughts. You are also your actions. And by consciously choosing your actions, you can shape who you are and how you experience the world.
It's a call to action, isn't it?
It is.
To become more aware of the choices we're making each day.
Every day.
And how those choices are shaping our reality.
Shaping our reality, exactly.
And the best part is, we don't need like special training or years of therapy to tap into this power.
No.
We can start experimenting with the as-if principle.
We can.
Right now.
Today, try smiling when you're feeling down. Strike a power pose before a big challenge. Or even just tear up a piece of paper to trick yourself into starting that daunting task.
Act as if and see what happens.
See what happens.
You might just be amazed at the transformative power you have within you.
And remember, it's a journey. Not a destination.
Sure.
Be patient with yourself. Experiment with different techniques and have fun with it.
On that note, I think it's time for us to surface in this deep dive. But I have a feeling our listener is going to keep exploring.
I think so too.
The as-if principle. Long after this episode is over. It's the kind of concept that stays with you.
It is. It's very thought-provoking.
Until next time. Keep exploring, keep questioning.
Keep questioning.
And keep acting as if.
Act as if.